Hey, it's Gerald Glassford.
Oh, sorry. Do that one more time, please. I lost my text here, but now it's back. So, all right, go for it.
Hey, it's Gerald Glassford.
And this is Josh from the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse, wishing everyone listening the happiest of holidays.
Hey, it's Gerald.
Are we doing the same thing again?
Yeah, as I said, my I should say. Hey, it's Gerald.
And this is Josh from the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse, wishing everyone listening the happiest of holidays.
Merry Christmas from your friends right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. At the Pop Culture Cosmos. And of course, right here. I should say. Merry Christmas from your friends at the Pop Culture Cosmos. And of course, right here at the. Like that. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. From your Merry Christmas from your friends at the Pop Culture Cosmos. And your friends right here at the SKO Radio Network. And your friends at Variety Digital Radio Ipswich. And your friends at Variety Digital Radio Ipswich. And your friends at Pulse Talk Radio. And your friends at KBOG 97.9 FM. And your friends at the Podcast Radio Network. And your friends at the ESO Network. And your friends at the Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting. And your friends at the Good and your friends at Good and your friends at Good Talk Radio. And your friends at Gray Cloud Radio. And your friends at Mile High Radio. And your friends at IPMNation.com. On this week's episode, is there a future for The Walking Dead? On this week's episode, is there a future for The Walking Dead? Can a crackdown be coming soon? And will Fallout 76 take the series to new heights? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without the man himself. It is our version of Commander Shepard. When it comes to Humanica Media, you gotta catch everything. You gotta catch everything that he's doing out there on humanicamedia.com. Humanican Media on Facebook, YouTube, and so much more, including our site, popculturecosmos.com. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. All right, man. A busy weekend in pop culture. We've got a lot to cover, but I definitely want to hear you say hello, my friend.
Hello. Yeah, I was ready to rapid fire something, and then you cut me off there. So
I'm sorry.
hello.
It's all right. Go ahead, rapid fire, my friend.
No, it's all good, dude. The moment's gone. Just fluttered away in the wind. Gone with the wind is
I'm sorry.
no, it's all good. I'm just kidding, man. All right, hey, let's do this. Let's talk some pop culture. It's Sunday. This will be on Monday, but yeah, let's do this, man. What do we got today?
Well, first off, I want to make sure everybody knows that we are still going to be doing a charity event on December 15th at Retro City Games in Las Vegas. All those charity proceeds, if it's canned food, it's going to be going to 3 Square in Las Vegas. Also, if it's going to be toys, if you want to go ahead and donate toys, tell you what, that's going to go to the UMC Children's Hospital. If you've got dollars to donate and cash to donate, that's going to go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We're planning a huge charity game night at Retro City Games. We're talking to various artists out there for music. I know you've got a couple in mind that are coming with you from California just for the event.
Yes, so we got Hyper Schmidt and Trudai coming by to bless your ears with their musical talent. So if you're in the area and you're a fan, definitely come by. We would love to have you be a part of our events and play some games, hear some music, uh, have some drinks and eat some food. You know, just it'll be a good time for all.
And of course, also, we're going to have other special performances as well from Vetives, who does a great job, or Vetives, who does a great job with his musical artistry when it comes to some heavy metal themes, when it comes to video games. He's going to be doing some heavy metal covers of some famous video game theme music out there. That's also going to be part of the show. We're hoping Plasma Z can come as well. Plus, there's going to be Fortnite, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and Super Smash Brothers Ultimate tournaments all going on. Headed up by they're all going to be headed. They're going to be overseen and controlled and taken care of by our good friends at Mario Party Wars, Go Brothers Gaming, and Game Source. They're all going to go ahead and take care of those tournaments there. Buy-ins. It's, you know, if you want to find out more about buy-ins, just check out Retro City Games on Facebook. Just go ahead, and it's going to be, you know, donation-wise, either a money, canned food, or wrapped toy. We just truly appreciate any donations that go to us. As far as for, if you just want to go ahead and donate, we're going to be talking about doing a raffle even as well. I know Vitabrace, Miracle Fruit Oil with Vitabrace is going to get involved. Just so many other great things going on. It is, once again, a charity game night at Retro City Games on December 15th. Stay tuned to the Retro City Games Facebook page for more. But it is going to be a great show today. We've got a lot to cover when it comes to the world of pop culture. We're going to be talking about the Grinch's big win at the box office, the new Disney Channel, what's it called and what's it going to be about. Some great new things have been added to it as well for the future in 2019 when it opens up. The death, or the impending death, of Prima Games, a standout in the as far as the cheat guide and as far as the video game guides, a staple of the video game community. That's unfortunate as far as that news is concerned. But also, Microsoft had their XO18 conference this year. They're having the whole convention this weekend. They made some announcements. We're going to tell you about that as well. Destiny 2's been in the news, but not for the best of reasons. It's great if you like free games, but unfortunately, overall, it doesn't say the Activision's been sending some signals when it comes to the future of the Destiny series. Fallout 76 comes out in the middle of this week, so we're going to talk about that as well. And on the back end, we're also going to be talking about the rise of Rocket League. The World Championships took place this past weekend here in Las Vegas. We're going to talk about Rocket League and the success story, as far as all the great things about it, why it's so fun, and why it's such a great success story. Plus, also as well, we have Daphne Matthew from Talking the Dead, and the Walking Dead fan base Facebook groups. She's going to stop by to talk about the Walking Dead universe, what happened in the most famous what happened in the famous Rick Grimes episode last week. We're going to talk about that and where it leads to as far as an expanding Walking Dead universe and the future for the Walking Dead. We're going to be talking about that and so much more. Plus, also Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Patriot podcast. He's going to quickly cover some things that he saw in Week 10 of the NFL. But my friend, are you ready to cover some really hot topics going on? Because we've got a lot to cover. It's going to be a rapid fire situation on the front part of our program.
Let's do this.
Let's do this indeed. And let's start off with the big win for the Grinch at the box office this weekend. Domestically, it hit about $65-66 million at the box office. Your thoughts on the Grinch winning the box office, and do you think this is just a sign that it's going to be one of the biggest hits of the holiday season, because this is a movie that should have some legs going forward throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, you're more into the box office numbers than I am, but I think it's a good sign. We're talking about Christmas movies. We haven't seen one in a long time. There hasn't been a good one in a long time, one that you can take families to go see. So good for them. And also, like, I saw Benedict Cumberbatch, the Grinch is attached to these auto insurance commercials, I think. And I'm surprised as the crap out of me that he's doing that. But I mean, good for him. So
And also Ebates as well.
Ebates, yeah. So if anything, like good marketing, excellent marketing. That's Universal, right? Made that. Yeah, that's crazy good marketing. So I'm glad to see it succeeding, and I hope more people go to see it. Benedict Cumberbatch deserves it. And it's a decent story. It's supposed to be a prequel, right? If I was reading that correctly.
I believe that's correct. The reviews on it have not been strong. They're saying that really didn't bring much to the Grinch type atmosphere or anything as far as the ambiance and the mystique of the Grinch. It really didn't add much to it overall. But people, kids, it's a family movie that a lot of families can go to. The kids can go see. They can really enjoy, and it has the pedigree of Illumination Entertainment, which has been on such a roll with The Secret Life of Pets, The Secret Life of Pets, Lorax, and also as well, don't forget all the Despicable Me's and the Minions and all that. Those movies have really made it successful for a movie like this to go out and do very well in its own right. So I'm looking forward to actually it becoming a pretty good hit over the holiday season. I think it'll do very well. I think it'll last a long time as far as stay out there in the presence of mind with a lot of other things, and even with a lot of other movies that are coming out. And you're right, they have done a pretty good job of marketing it. They actually went to old school, because back in the day, my friend, the movies would come out and they would be tied to everything, as far as from fast food to everything, as far as retail outlets to associating themselves with a lot of other things out there. Movies have kind of gotten away from that to an extent when it comes to marketing. We've only seen it in some things, when it comes to the Avengers and Audi, and every now and then we see it here and there, but we don't usually see it to the extent that we have that we've seen as the Grinch in a long, long time. And I think that's why the movie, if it plays out to be a financial success, I think that's one of the reasons why that it actually will become a success in the long run. So it's good to see that. That's good to know about. That's good to see that the Grinch is going to become another holiday staple for everyone out there to go ahead and see. It's going to be a solid movie for the weeks to come. It looks like something that's going to be another Christmas, another good movie that's going to perform well over the Christmas period. My friend, did you get a chance to check out what's going on with Disney? They finally officially made the announcement on the series on their streaming service. It's officially called Disney Plus, which is not too much of a surprise, considering the fact that one of the companies that they own, ESPN, has a similar deal with ESPN Plus. So it seems like a natural that Disney Plus was the actual name that they're going to go with. And they added not only officially the Loki series that's coming, but also Diego Luna, who is famous for his work with Star Wars. Oh my gosh.
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One. Gosh, it's like it was on my head, on the tip of my tongue. Star Wars Rogue One now is going to reprise his role from Star Wars Rogue One into a series of its own. Your thoughts on how they're actually shaping up with Disney Plus? Do you think it's going to be something really special the moment it debuts in 2019?
Not a very original name, Disney Plus. It's not.
It's not original, but it's something that they're already doing with ESPN, and I'm sure they're going to be doing it with all their other networks that they own, as far as bringing all that into a sort of like a plus situation. So yeah, it's not the greatest of names. I agree with you on that.
But then again, we shouldn't really be expecting originality from Disney, because they are literally the royalty when it comes to not having original thoughts. So
they love to play it safe.
Clearly. No, but I honestly, the Rogue One was weird to me, because not a lot of people are fans of going backwards. Like with Harry Potter, it's different because you're getting a completely different timeline. But this one, we already saw those characters die. And while I'm fascinated to see what they would do with that, I don't have any interest in seeing, because I already saw his story close. So I don't really have much desire to see how it begins, And also, like, and the thing is, like, yeah, it's going to be successful. The Disney streaming service, of course, is going to be successful because look, you have these are basically like I'm seeing these movies being like mini these series being like production style big production style shows, and so it's going to have all the like the oomph of a movie, but it's just going to be in shorter form. And back to Rogue One for a minute, it's the fact that like without Gareth Edwards behind the wheel, like what's that going to look like? Because what made Rogue One so good was that it's so dark and gritty. So we'll see if they can recapture the magic. But with Marvel and Star Wars shows, and then how long till we get like they decide to remake or give us a Indiana Jones prequel or side story or something like that. So they got a lot of power behind them, and I predict it's going to be very successful, unfortunately.
Well, they already tried that with young Indiana Jones back in the day, so I don't know if they're going to go ahead and reach for it again. But you never know. You never know. They're going to try and reach into as many assets as they can to try and accentuate Disney Plus and bring in viewers away from Netflix, CBS All Access, Hulu, whatever. They're going to try and bring them away from those streaming services. And so far, they announced that their joint ventures are going to be with obviously Star Wars, Marvel, stuff from ABC. The one that struck to me fancy, but obviously they also put an asterisk on it that was pending the Fox sale and all that, was National Geographic, which kind of was something that they were promoting, which kind of stuck out there. It was like they said Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, and yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, National Geographic, when that popped up on the screen as far as what's going on for an advertisement for Disney Plus, I thought that was kind of out of the norm, out of the box, but also something that could be very interesting and a key part of that Disney Plus streaming service.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's there's a lot of surprises going on here, but at the end of the day, I think most of it's going to be fairly successful just because it is Disney and Disney is a powerhouse. Disney has all of these names under its belt, and whether or not the shows are good, people are still going to go back to them, if that makes sense.
It does. And I tell you what, Disney Plus is going to be looking stronger and stronger as they continue to fortify everything that they're going to be showing off everything they're going to be showing off in their streaming service, all the shows, all the series coming to that. Obviously, the Star Wars series has already been mentioned. Like I said, Loki, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, all those names have been mentioned as far as tying into their own series on that streaming service or mini-series or abbreviated episodes or whatever they're going to be doing or whatever they're going to be planning for that. So it's very interesting to see what they're offering with Disney Plus to try and lure in those viewers away from Netflix and all those other streaming services. My friend, when it comes to video games, we're going to be doing more rapid fire here. Destiny 2 recently has been making the rounds as far as being a free game on both consoles and now for a limited time on PC. I'll tell you what, man, on the surface, everything that seems great, but now obviously the reason why was because they were debuting some massive DLC in the Forsaken DLC that was coming out. It was also admitted by Activision higher-ups that the game, since its debut in 2017, has not performed up to their expectations, which is kind of sad to see where Bungie, the original makers of the Halo series, has evolved into, because they were so proud of Destiny. There was so much hype for it. Everything was going to be on the Cloud9 for it, but both Destiny and now Destiny 2 have not really performed up to those high-level expectations from such a high pedigree and big-time pedigree studios such as Bungie. Your thoughts on Destiny 2's disappointing sales? Why has there been a disconnect as far as the game is concerned with audiences? And do you think the making it free and being dependent on the expanded DLC is the way to go as far as for the future for this Destiny franchise, if you see it continuing at all?
Well, Destiny, if you ever read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels by Jason Schreier, like Destiny just getting off the ground was ridiculously hard, and it had so many issues as far as voice acting goes, storytelling, the whole controversy with Marty O'Donnell being fired. Like it had a lot, and people were assaulting it on Twitter relentlessly when it first came out. And then, it kind of had its rise and falls over the years, but they already had a deadline to meet for Destiny 2, which was almost, I want to say, what, a year and a half after Destiny 1 went out. So you can't really like get a quality game in that amount of time, because you're basically just reusing old skins, old designs, old old code. And it came out to mediocre reviews. People didn't like it, and there's not good fan feedback. One of the expansions was fans thought was okay, but yeah, it just what and the funny thing is, like, this is making me look at a game like Anthem coming out. You know how it's all a multiplayer community type thing with story on it, and it's kind of making me wonder: is this model going to work? This is a model that a lot of people are trying to put into practice. Is it going to work? What's it going to be like? Destiny, the fall of Destiny, the kind of the showing that it's not the good idea that everyone thought it was, that people don't want that kind of gameplay, because I know more people play the multiplayer modes of that than they do the story and all that stuff. So yeah, and as for like giving it away for free, like, this is they're in their death throes. And yeah, it is sad to see the developers of Halo, but I mean, I'm wondering now if this game it's had so much bad publicity, and it's already had that turnaround where the fans like, okay, we'll give it another chance, and then they blew it. So I'm not seeing a good turnaround for this, if that makes sense. They're kind of just the moment a game goes to being free is kind of the moment where they're lighting the funeral pyre in hopes that a rain's going to come and put those flames out eventually.
It does look like a desperate move as far as from from a distance when you're viewing it, that it seems like very much so it's going to be something that a lot of people are questioning the future for the franchise when you're going to a free game already so soon after you wanted to make it a big budget AAA type of title. I played through it recently with when it became a free. I played some of it when it became a free option, and I thought myself, I see why. It's got it's got a lot of traits from previous Halos, but it doesn't have the connection that a lot of people do, like myself, to the Halo series, I guess because there's no real attractive characters to connect to. There's no Master Chief telling that story, that narrative that you really want to guide yourself through. It just is not compelling in any way, shape, or form. The mechanics are there that we've all seen and done before when it comes to the Halo series, and it just doesn't seem to bring anything new to the table. I know people that, like you said, are into the multiplayer and the raids and all that, but once they're done with the raids, they move on to something else. And I can see why Destiny 2, as of this point, has underwhelmed both audiences and also critics as well. So I'm just at this point hopeful that Bungie will get its act together and be able to produce something long-term for Destiny. Otherwise, it's going to be a disappointment across the board for Bungie, Activision, and the whole Destiny series if they have to move into a different direction. Speaking of video games, staying on the topic, my friend, Microsoft X018 this weekend. Also, just, my gosh, man, just so much information going out there, and a lot of great things going on for some of the games that are out there and some of the games that associates themselves with Microsoft. Couple of things I wanted to talk about most importantly. Well, first off, they got a lot of things going on when it comes to the deals coming up for Black Friday, so you definitely want to check out what they thought on our what's coming out for deals on our Black Friday mentions when it comes out. Actually, off of our Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page, we mentioned what they were talking about as far as the deals coming up for Surface Pro and Xbox One and all that stuff coming up later in the month. But the things I wanted to touch on was a major acquisition of two companies. One you're very familiar with, and also one that's also could bring out some great games as well in the future. But inXile Entertainment was purchased by Microsoft. They made that announcement. But the big announcement, I guess you could say, is Obsidian Entertainment. makers of several games that a lot of gamers out there are very familiar with, including Fallout New Vegas, Pillars of Eternity, Dungeon Siege, Alpha Protocol, and more. They were acquired by Microsoft. This was one of the biggest and most well-known freelancing development companies out there that wanted to stay independent for a long time, worked with several publishers, including Bethesda and so many others. But now it looks like they've gone ahead, whatever is money troubles, because that's been highly rumored after a couple of the games that they produced on their own were really did not make it very well financially. Looks like they had to head to, looks like they were heading in that direction. It looks like they were heading in a wrong direction when all of a sudden Microsoft snatches them up. Things are changing now for Obsidian Entertainment in a positive direction for both them and inXile Entertainment, my friend. So your thoughts on Microsoft doing what I think you've asked before in making sure that going forward that more development means more games, which means better things for the fans of Xbox going forward.
Right. Obsidian's a weird one because they had prided themselves on not working directly with publishers anymore because they did not have the freedom to do what they wanted, the deadlines. They're tired of always having someone looking over their shoulder to see what they were doing. So they were one of the first developers to get into crowdfunding, and that was for Pillars of Eternity 2. But yeah, no, I mean it makes sense because at the end of the day, like it almost, if you look at their selection of games here, like it makes sense, and
it reaches a high with Fallout New Vegas and starts to slowly go, not in terms of quality, because Dungeon Siege 3 was very critically lauded, but as far as sales, which you and I both know is the most important thing, because they wanted to go off and stay off on their own, it started to fall off with sales. And as you and I know, if they're not being able to pay back on the dollar like they did when they were making money hand over fist with Fallout New Vegas, you got to go to reach out to new friends, and that new friend is now Microsoft.
Yeah, and they were already like the Stick of Truth was something that they were developing when they were like on their deathbed. So it makes sense that Microsoft will pick them up because Microsoft was the one that usually published their games anyways. So yeah, that makes sense to me, and good for them. I'm glad to see them still around. I hope that some of their more obscure RPGs maybe might find new life on the Xbox. But I also want to ask you this: do you think that Microsoft? I'm hoping their laser focus on giving exclusive content to Xbox, but how much of that do you think is them buying up the market so Sony doesn't get it?
That's a good question. I think that is a definite possibility, especially with both the new Xbox and the PlayStation 5 coming around the corner. Getting a quality developer of games like we were talking about, Pillars of Eternity, South Park, The Stick of Truth, Fallout New Vegas, Dungeon Siege 3, such as Obsidian, and also inXile Entertainment with their list of games that they've made before. Getting two quality developers like that shows to me that they are serious about banking towards the future and providing what so many people out there, including you and I, have talked about, is providing more first-party games from a Microsoft standpoint, because we see what PlayStation does. They're not hesitating to go ahead and bring out so many different first-party games. They're not hesitant to go ahead and buy or get involved with developers out there that will produce games that will hit the PlayStation first. They're not hesitant in doing that. And it looks like more and more that Xbox is finally learning from the lessons from being number 2 or number 3 in each console generation. So it looks like they're learning from that and going ahead and trying to atone for their mistakes from the past and trying to build themselves a better future, especially with the new Xbox coming around the corner.
Yeah, good, and good for them. Like that imagine with all this Ninja Theory, Obsidian, Rare, all these Playground games. Imagine all of this. What is it makes me wonder what is the launch lineup going to look like for the new Xbox. Like they're gonna have, if they come out strong, like it could very well set the, you know, the set the standard for this next generation of consoles. And I think that's very important. They need to come out the gate strong and showing Sony that they're not going to you know, they're not going to sit this one out. So good for them. I hope it works out.
I hope it does as well, and I hope it will bring Xbox gamers all that they want to and more when it comes to a quality, substantial first-party lineup that Xbox owners can be proud of and show off to their Nintendo Switch and also their PlayStation friends. Last but not least, on our hit list when it comes to this rapid-fire conversation that we're having, just trying to get everyone up to date on all everything that's going on in pop culture. Last but not least, this week, my friend, is a lot of stuff going on in pop culture when it comes to video game and movie releases. There's a couple things going on later in the week that we're going to be talking about on our Friday PCC Multiverse. But one thing we can say that's going to be releasing between this show and that show is the release of Fallout 76. I know everybody's been throwing their opinions all around during the course of the betas that have been available for Fallout 76 pre-order customers. Your thoughts on Fallout 76 as it hits stores? Is this going to be able to continue the successful line of Fallout games, or do you think that the mediocre reviews, the concept that it's a multiplayer-centric game and not a single-player straightforward narrative is going to hamper the success for the Fallout series going forward?
Well, so I got my hands on the beta for a little bit, and I did kind of notice that it does not feel like Fallout. You know, this is not your average Fallout. It's not your Fallout 3 or your Fallout 4. Like in Fallout 3 and 4, you spend a lot of time in the vault, you know, kind of getting used to the gameplay, learning how to do things. And this one, it literally just you walk outside, like you wake up after a party and you're all drunk, and then you go outside and that's it. Like there's nothing really, there's no intro really to play through. So you just go out there, and it's cool in the aspect that, you know, you're in a Fallout universe and you see all these other players running around, and, you know, you can stop and chat with them if you want to or not. But the biggest issue here is that the game feels slow. You know, there's a lot out there, but it feels slow and not very well inhabited. And that's what, you know, and granted, I know it takes place in a different point on the timeline, but it needs more stuff, you know, and it has a, I didn't play it with friends, so maybe I need to try that when it comes out, but it's just not something I'm going to be diving into quickly here.
And it looks like something that a lot of people are going to be interested in, but not sure if they're going to stay with it. I will give credit. Bethesda is reaching out on its marketing campaign to a lot of different places and different venues that it wouldn't normally go ahead and pitch a video game, or a video game company or publisher would normally pitch their own video games. So Fallout 76 at least is going to get a fair chance when it comes to being promoted out there. I'm going to tell you that right now. In my opinion, I'm seeing it a lot as far as different venues and whatnot that you would normally not see it in. You would normally not see a video game promoted in. So at least it's going to get the opportunity there. The beta was like almost a 3-4 week 4-week commercial for the game, and that you could go ahead and play it. And if you actually bought or you actually download the game, once it comes out officially, all that stuff is going to be transferred over to your game, and all your progress is going to be transferred over to the game, and that's good and all that. But it looks like so far that Fallout 76 is going to be doing okay, but I don't think it's going to reach the heights of the previous Fallout series, both critically and from an audience perspective, which is kind of disappointing because Bethesda has had a long line of good, solid success stories, and going forward, they need to go ahead and refocus their attempts on a positive future when it comes to the Fallout series. And also, will it be the Elder Scrolls series next year? We'll have to wait and see. Woo, my friend, we covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. Truly appreciate everyone out there listening to us. If you have any thoughts out there on whatever we talked about in this segment, in this part of the program, when it comes to the Grinch, when it comes to the Grinch, Disney Plus, Destiny 2, Fallout 76, or what happened at Microsoft X018, which includes what was announced at Crackdown 3 is coming. I got to see some footage of it. They have a new trailer that's out there. It's coming in February 2019, my friend. Was that a little surprising when they announced Crackdown 3? It's actually got a definite date in February of 2019.
Honestly, like everyone was expecting them to tell a release date at Xbox, and they had been putting it off for so long. The game had been postponed so many times. Like if it didn't come out, if it did not come out in 2019, early 2019, like it and we went to another E3 without seeing this game, people probably would have or it would have lost some of the fan base, would have lost interest, because we're approaching the end of this console cycle, and people are expecting certain things. And if Crackdown were to have dragged into the next cycle of consoles, I don't think it would have done so well.
I agree with you, and it looks like for now they saved grace by going ahead and announcing a trailer. It's got that cartoony look, the cel-shaded look. It still looks pretty good. The destruction at a high level is there, which is the hallmark of the actual game series. So if you're into a whole lot of destruction, check out the video today. That's Crackdown 3, which is coming as a game to Xbox One in February of 2019. Last but not least, covering the last part of last but not least, unfortunately, we also heard that Prima Games, which has been making strategy guides for almost 30 years, finally they gave the death knell, my friend, and they're going out of business. Your thoughts on the impending death of Prima Games? I'm actually looking right now as we are speaking at my Oblivion Prima Games guide and thinking some fond thoughts at that massive book, and thinking I couldn't have got through as much as I did on my original playthrough of Oblivion without my book from Prima Games.
We all have excellent memories of Prima Games, Prima strategy guides. Those were the Mass Effect. Every Mass Effect game, every Final Fantasy game, I always had a Prima strategy guide, because what was nice about it is they had all the maps laid out, all the spots where you can find things. But with the advent of the internet, I think that their closing down has become, and it's been an inevitability for a long time, because you can go online now. You have
IGN. You have so many other sites. GameSpot.
Right. Yeah, you have whole departments within these big media outlets that are dedicated to game facts. You have your IGNs, your Polygons, Kotakus, like all of these people I mean, that's actually how people get jobs. You write these game facts, and then that's how a lot of people have gotten noticed who work for these outlets. So it was more of an inevitability. But yeah, I do remember the days. You'd buy you pre-order the game, and they'd ask you if you want to pre-order the strategy guide. Do you want the strategy guide? And you would always want to buy it. Or if you bought the game on release day, you could get the strategy guide for like $5 off or something. That was fun, man. I always liked having those, and it totally beat printing up like 300 to 400 pages of Final Fantasy guide off the internet. It was easier just to have a book. But it is sad, man. It just goes to show you too. It's not just gonna be strat guides the kind of print media that goes out of business. I think magazines are gonna go, and maybe books soon one day too. And I hate to say that, but yeah, dude, the internet's just kind of made life miserable for a lot of people who were always good to us growing up.
That is definitely the case, and just some fond memories of going through those big, huge, detailed strategy guides. Obviously, the cooperation that they had with those game publishers and developers in order to make such massive books that would be ready and available as soon as you picked up the game. Those days are going to be going bye-bye very soon, as Prima Games, the standout in the video game marketplace when it comes to strategy guides, is going to be no longer very soon. And my thoughts are with those at Prima Games, and my hopes are that all those individuals involved will be able to go ahead and find work that will go ahead and be able to satisfy them as much as their work with Prima Games. Man, that was a big, detailed first part of the show, my friend. A lot of things we had to cover. If you have any questions out there, or if you'd like to go ahead and share us your thoughts on what was going on with The Grinch this weekend, did you get a chance to see it? We didn't even cover what happened with Overlord and also A Girl in the Spider's Web. We didn't even cover that topic yet, but we hopefully will touch on it maybe. But we didn't even cover those two movies. But those two movies didn't do quite as well as was expected. So that was something that we had to go ahead and put on the back burner. But The Grinch, share us your thoughts. Share us your thoughts out there on everything we covered. You want to talk about The Grinch? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about Overlord and The Girl in the Spider's Web? Did you get a chance to catch any of those movies out? What about your thoughts with Disney Plus? Are you really getting excited to go ahead and get the streaming service? Destiny 2, are you one of those that have been disappointed with what's gone on with Destiny 2? Are you excited now for the game that it's now free in many different outlets, as far as being available now free for a limited time on PC and has been free pretty recently on consoles? Are you ready to get that game now and check out a lot of that, what's going on in that world, and maybe even buy some DLC? Let us know on that. Fallout 76, what are your thoughts as it's coming out this week? Do you really want to go ahead and get that game? Are you excited for it? Do you think it's going to be a great addition to the Fallout series? What about the announcements at Microsoft? Microsoft X018 with buying Obsidian and In Exile. Do you think those are two big maneuvers for the future going forward? And do you think Crackdown 3 is going to be everything that you want it to be? Are you even interested in getting Crackdown 3 if you've already taken a look at it? Share us your thoughts on any or all of these subjects at popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Sorts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Breathe, Gerald, breathe. I'll tell you what, it's still going to be a great episode, even after covering all that. We still got a lot more left to cover. Coming up right after the break, it's my good friend Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Patriot Podcast. He's going to give us a couple quick notes on Week 10 in the NFL. Right after that, our good friend Daphne Matthew from Talking the Dead and the Walking Dead fan base Facebook groups, she's stopping by to talk about the future of the Walking Dead series, of the Walking Dead universe, and also what happened in the latest Rick Grimes episode, and of course the Rick Grimes finale episode. And at the back end of the show, Josh and I are going to be talking about Rocket League, the success story that it was. The World Championships took place this weekend, and it just sets a precursor. It sets almost like a high bar for the game series that has done so well, coming from such obscurity. It's just a great story to tell, and we'll talk about that at the back end of the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back to close out the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. If you have a chance, check out our site on Facebook, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, to get the latest listings of everywhere we're at being played on radio. And we want to welcome our newest radio station. That is Pulse Talk Radio. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos family. So great to have your listeners out there. Hope you will enjoy everything we talk about on a weekly basis here on the Pop Culture Cosmos, the PC Multiverse, at one of our newest homes, Pulse Talk Radio. My friend, if you get a chance, and also if you get a chance out there and you're not sure where to catch us, we've got an entire listing, all of our radio listing. We've got a radio listing of all of our stations that we're on, because we're being played 7 days a week around the world. And that's going to be at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. Or it also tells you, if you want to download the show, some of our podcast networks as well. My friend, you've got a great thing going on with Humanity Media, so share the goods, my friend. What's going on with your awesome place, with your awesome experience known as Humanity Media?
Not a lot these days, man. Just Topicocalypse. So yeah, we put out a new episode yesterday about do nothings in the workplace, and let's be honest, we've all worked with people who do nothing, right? And they don't lose their jobs, but they do, right? And they do act like they when the boss is around, they act like they do a lot, or they'll even like go as far as to take credit for what somebody else has done. So Big Dog brought that up, and we talk about that, and we talk about education and how to get a job. And we're joined by Louis Vasquez of Vasquez and Family Incorporated, and he tells us about the truth behind what employers think when they're hiring people. So it's definitely a good episode. Check it out. It's out there today. There'll be a new one going up on Tuesday, and we're talking about religion, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, that's all we got going on for right now.
And also check out our home site, popculturecosmos.com, where you can get all that great Humanity Media stuff, all the great articles, podcasts, and so much more at popculturecosmos.com, whether it's Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, or Humanity Media. My friend, as we head on out on another great show, I want to thank so much Daphne Matthew from Talking the Dead and the Walking Dead fan base Facebook groups. So glad to have her here as always, talking The Walking Dead. And our good friend Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. Check out his full episodes on our Pop Culture Cosmos channel on Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and so many other podcast outlets. So great to have him check in with us on what's going on in Week 10 in the NFL. But before we head on out, your thoughts on Rocket League. What a success story, man, because I first heard about it back, a couple years ago when they were a free game on the PlayStation Plus. I snatched that up in a hurry, my friend, and I do not regret it at all. It's been a fun game to go back to every now and then, but it has transitioned itself into such a popular game. After its run as a free game, it just spread the word out on how good a quality game this is. People have been buying it at full retail now for quite a spell, to the point where they're getting all the DLC and all that other stuff. And it's become such a success story in the video game marketplace. They're now been a big time game that's being watched on streaming networks as far as Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and what have you. And they recently had this past weekend the World Championships, which resulted in a high viewer count on Twitch and just a whole lot of fun. Your thoughts on Rocket League, this small game success story, which has turned out to be a big, huge success story in the video game marketplace.
Isn't it like it's one of the fastest selling video games of all time, right? If I was reading something about that.
It is up there, and that's just because the fact it's still at a great price. And again, it started off as a free game on PlayStation Plus. It was a PlayStation exclusive for just a period of time, I believe. And it got to the point where a lot of people were just really so excited about it as a free game. When it went back to a full price game, a lot of people were just telling their friends and whatnot. It just seemed to explode going forward, and just a lot of people just cannot get enough of this cool race car soccer style indoor looking game that just really just has a lot of fun. It's just, if you're not familiar with it, Rocket League, you're just going around with a car, the different shaped vehicle, and just playing almost like soccer with this big, huge, humongous, oversized ball that just bounces all over the place. And obviously the idea, if you're based off of soccer, is to get it into the net on the other team's goal. And it's just a lot of fun. You got to watch it. You got to play it. You got to interact with it, because it's truly a outstanding game. And my credit to the developers that have just made this game truly something special.
Yeah, because so when it first came out, I played it. I loved it, but then I got too busy, and by the time I came back to it, everyone I was playing with was infinitely better than I was. And it's one of those games where like you either learn really fast or you just get left behind. So I stopped playing it. I realized maybe that's not for me, but it has such a large, anyone can play it. It's such a versatile game. Like anyone of any age, I mean, assuming that you can process button controllers or the buttons on a controller, anyone can play it. And it's weird because there was a study showing that kids under the age of 10 were a lot better at Rocket League than people 18 and over. And just because their minds were able to process what was going on the screen a lot faster than what an adult could, and react to it on the controller. So that's cool. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like I never really got into it. I got friends who love it, and I see why. And it's a cool game. It's an amazing concept, but it just was never something I enjoyed. But where do you stand on it?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I picked it up, like I said, initially when it became a free game from PlayStation Plus as almost like an advertisement out there. They gave you this candy right off the bat, and it just was truly fun to play. Like you said, if you're playing out there with some pros or someone who's really spent a lot of time with the game, they can really just do a number on you. But the type of team concept I saw this weekend from those playing in the World Championships, it's still just a lot of fun. It's not a game where you're going to go ahead and shoot the bad guy. It's not a game where you're going to go ahead and there's massive violence or a huge narrative that you have to try and follow, or side quests, or 100-hour campaign, or anything like that. It's just a game where you go down, you have fun, you play. It's almost like think of it like a sporting event, like a sports game that you just go ahead, play a few games. It's a lot of laughs. And I tell you what, they've done. Psyonix, the developer, has done a great job with promoting this game, with making this game something special. And I'm so happy for the success, because it is showing that in the video game marketplace, every now and then, there is a little engine that could. And this is the version of that, because they are the game that came out of nowhere and became a major success story in a sea of nothing but big AAA, heavily advertised games that are trying to compete against it. Fortnite, Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption, the list goes on, yet somehow here's this little game that not only has not only beaten expectations, but beaten it by a wide margin. Share us your thoughts. Listen, what are your thoughts out there, everyone, on Rocket League? Do you play it? Do you really want to get into it? Do you want to find out more about it? Share us your thoughts on the game itself, and what's your thoughts on the success of it and the whole World Championships that took place this weekend. Share us your thoughts. Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My friend, it's been another great episode. It's been another great episode. There's a lot going on in pop culture. Tell you what, even at the end of this week, we still got even more great stuff to talk about, because Battlefield 1 and Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, that comes out this weekend, making our PCC Multiverse on Friday even cooler. But yeah. Any last thoughts on the way out?
Yeah, man. Fantastic Beast, stoked. Battlefield. I am right now, I'm about 61 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it honestly feels like it's never going to end. I love the game, but it just feels eternal to me. Like I'm going to be playing this game for the rest of my life. But Battlefield is definitely on my list, and I'm probably actually even going to play it before I get to Red Dead. So definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, I hope it does well. I hope it outperforms Call of Duty, because that would just be stellar to me.
We'll wait and see. Is it going to be the game? Is it going to be the game in the series that finally surpasses a Call of Duty game? We're going to find out that soon, as Battlefield 1 is coming out this week. And of course, we're going to have our thoughts on that and Fantastic Beasts. We're going to preview that movie as well, coming up on our Friday show, the PCC Multiverse. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.